Hello, everyone. It's been a little bit. So, today I wanted to go over the books in 2025 that I absolutely loved, that came at a time when I needed them and just hit just right. So, first off, I read 13th Child by Aaron Craig. It was one of my favorite books of the year. And it is about a girl whose godfather is death, the god of death. The book starts off, we have this man and woman. The woman tells her husband that she is pregnant with their 13th child, and they're not happy about it. And they're going back and forth trying to decide what to do with the baby. Do they keep it? Do they not keep it? And the gods suddenly start appearing in their bedroom, and they're offering different things for the child. The dad, for whatever reason, ends up making the deal with the god of death. I believe it's Merrick. And the parents think, oh, this is great. We will not have to do anything in regards to this child. When it's born, that god of death will take over. That's not what happens. Instead, he leaves the child with the parents until I think the kid's like 12 or 13. So the child grows up in just a really awful, awful situation. She's abused and neglected for the first half of her life. So by the time he finds her again, he comes and he collects her and takes her with him. She's pretty much been shaped by her circumstances. Now her everything improves when she is with her godfather. Her situation is much better. She's no longer abused. She is still neglected. Like he just kind of leaves her on her own. But he tells her, you're going to be a healer. And he wants her to study all of these books. And she does. She studies. She ends up training and starts to make a name for herself where she's at in her little town. One day, the king comes calling, and his guards say, you have to help us. We're going to take you. You have to heal the king. No one else has been able to heal this. It's some mysterious illness. And that's kind of where the story takes off. Also in this book, we have zombie ghosts that only she can see, and she's being haunted by them because of certain things that she can see and feel and touch and can control in regards to her healing. This is a gothic horror novel, and it's a young adult novel. I love Aaron Craig's writing. This is probably, I would say, my third favorite. Small Favors is always going to be my absolute first favorite by this author. Next on my list is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. Oh my gosh, this book, it is a paranormal fantasy vampire romance. And we have our main character. She has been taken in by this, I want to say, cult, basically. And when she was found, all of the women in this organization cult, you have to give something up, and they give up their eye. They give up their sight, their sense of sight. But in return, they get to see like the threads of life and essence and how everything is like interconnected and woven. And then they're trained to be assassins. So our girl, she is on a mission with one of her fellow sisters. Suddenly, war breaks out. It's chaos, and the vampires arrive on the scene. She gets called back to come back to the main house where the head sister is. But her sister that she's on the mission with has died. And so she is absolutely devastated. She's angry. She wants to kill the vampire who is leading the vampires that have led the attack. So, and that's exactly what her mission is when she gets back to the house. The head lady goes, "Okay, you're going to infiltrate the vampires and you're going to kill him." Well, in order to infiltrate them, she has to become his seer. And it's their romance. She finds out a lot of stuff along the way, that things might not be as she thought, and that he is not necessarily the villain that she thought. It was such a good romance. It was so well written. Not just the romance, but the world. This is my third book that I have read by this author, and it's in the same like uh, series, but this is more of a like prequel to the other two. Absolutely enjoyed it. It was five stars for me. And then my next 5-star read of the year that I was very excited about and brought me joy was Arcana Academy. So our main character, she's in prison, and suddenly she gets taken out of her cell and she's set before the Prince of Swords. She was put in prison because someone, and she thinks she knows who, but someone set her up and told on her because she was making counterfeit tarot cards, which is not something you're allowed to do, first off, because only this academy, you have to go to this academy, you have to be trained, and then you have to graduate, and basically only a select few are able to own cards and have cards and use these cards. And she was making counterfeits and selling them and making a profit. Also, she was smuggling some people out, which her mother did before her, out of this kingdom because it's not the best kingdom. The king is a really terrible person. So the Prince of Swords, who's like second or third in line for the throne, can't remember it right now. It's been a while. I read this earlier in the year. So he makes a deal with her. He basically says, "Come to the academy and you're going to ink some cards for me because you're very, very good at what you do. And we're going to swap these cards for my father's set." And that's their deal. It's their romance. It's very enemies to lovers because she blames him for her situation. She also finds out more about herself and her own powers and how everything is set up more so. And also has a found family aspect. It was a really, really good book. It is a young adult fantasy romance. And then I read Shield of Sparrows. I know not everybody enjoyed this book. I did. It was just a fun time. It was a fun read. So when it came to this, we have 5 different kingdoms, and they all have treaties that they have signed saying basically they're not going to fight each other because they have to have a tentative peace because every so many years these creatures come and they just devour everything. They take over the land and everything dies. So humans have to like go underground and hide, and they have to store enough food and grain. Our girl is like she's the oldest princess, but no one pays attention to her. She's never been trained on anything. She was not the one that her father wanted to get married and be part of this treaty. So the younger sister has been trained. She's been trained as an assassin. She has been trained as a spy because the king plans on breaking this treaty and he wants the resources from this other kingdom. So when the prince from that kingdom comes with his band of mercenaries, they kind of have an idea that this isn't going to go the way it's supposed to have gone. They don't trust the king, and they shouldn't. So they go and they say, no, 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 no. We don't want that princess. We don't want the princess you're trying to pawn off on me. I want her. We want the throwaway princess. And the dad, there's really nothing that he can do because to get that prince to go ahead and come, he had to make a deal with them. So the ball is in their court. They hold the power here. They take her, and it's sort of like starts off, you think it's going to be like a love triangle because you have the prince and you have his head mercenary, his head guard, and she's like following along, trying to find her place. And as she's traveling, she realizes that the animals throughout not just her kingdom, but in this other kingdom and in the waters, they're sick. They have been tainted with something, and it's making them very aggressive. And they're trying to just kill everyone and everything. And so she's trying to solve this situation while trying to survive, as well as hopefully not be a pawn for her father. Now, was it the best well written book? No, but I still enjoyed it, and I could not put it down. And that's what I loved about it. It was a page turner, kept me happy, kept me intrigued and interested. So can't wait for the next one for next year. Next up, surprise. It's really not. We have another fantasy romance that I absolutely adored. Again, Quicksilver. I'm a little late to this. I didn't read this until this year in 2025. Can't wait. I have Brimstone. I'm waiting for it. I'm next in line at the library. I'm like so excited. I know, I'm sure you've heard everyone talk about this. I'm going to briefly talk about it again. With this, we have our main character. She's in dire circumstances. She steals from a guard, and that gets her and her brother into trouble. She gets arrested. She has to go before the queen, who's the evil queen of her kingdom, and she's basically going to be executed. But during her execution, she ends up getting away from the guards, and she touches and activates a sword that opens a portal, and out walks a fae, and he takes her with him to his dimension. This was another page turner. I could not put it down, and made me happy. Absolutely. I enjoyed the magic system. I enjoyed the romance. I enjoyed the writing itself. I thought it was very, very good. So it was another 5-star read for me. Thorn Season is a YA romantic fantasy. And we have our main character. She is hiding in her true self in this kingdom because in the kingdom that she lives in, it's illegal to have magic. They call it specter magic because it's almost like it's a part of her, and it's like another sense. It's very hard to control, but she's keeping it under wraps, and it's very dangerous for her because not only is it illegal to have this and be born with it, but she is born into a family of hunters who their entire job for centuries has been to hunt down people like her. Her father knows that she has this, and he has been helping to hide her. Every year, the women who turn 18 in that year, they are presented at courts to the king. This year, and that is Thorn Season. That is what the season is. She turns 18 this year, so it is her going to court to be presented to the king. Of course, this is very dangerous for her. Very, very dangerous situation. Her dad does not want her to go. She does not want to be there. How is she going to hold everything in and hold it together while she's at court for the 6 weeks during this whole season? Well, while it's the first night, it's the opening of everything, they are also hosting the ambassador of a neighboring kingdom. Now, this neighboring kingdom, it's not illegal to have this magic and to be born this way. because pretty much everyone in the kingdom has it. And for some reason, the king has allowed this ambassador to come. Well, things happen. She not only meets the ambassador, but she is also caught the eye of the king, and things happen. It's going to be better for her to hide in the kingdom and actually be closer to both the king and the ambassador rather than trying to stay at home where everyone is being hunted in this kingdom right now. It's sort of like a love triangle because the king is falling for her, the ambassador is falling for her, and she's kind of playing both of them in this game of survival. It was a really quick read. I also enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the characters. I thought that they were very well written. And I thought the magic system itself was very intriguing. And the story was good too. So all around made me happy. And then my last 5-star read of 2025. This is the number one favorite book of mine for this year. It is a sci-fi dystopian with like a romantic subplot, and it is Conform. This made me think of Brave New World versus combined with Handmaid's Tale. That's what this book is. I think it was trying to compare it to Hunger Games. I have no idea why. It's not Hunger Games in any way other than it's a dystopian world. But not Hunger Games. Think Brave New World, Handmaid's Tale. That's what you get. So this has been many, many, many hundreds of years after a nuclear fallout. We have society divided into a caste system. You have the small elite power that is called, I think it's Ilum. And beneath them, you have sort of like, I would say the Ilum is sort of, you would think a monarchy, that's, or a dictatorship. But they have all the power. And then you have like people under them that are high society. They also have power. And then you have the main set of people that are called defects. And the defects are divided actually into two parts. You have minor defects and you have major defects. The minor defects, they can still be chosen to possibly marry into the upper two tiers. And it's not really marry and you spend your whole life with them. No, it's more of you're chosen and you have a contract for X amount of time and you don't get to choose your person. It's one of them is choosing you and you're selected by like this system. If you're a major defect, then you're not selected at all. You're basically driven underground and you're not even supposed to be out and about unless it's like dark outside. Horrible, horrible, horrible system. The women are divided separately from the men, and they're basically, their sole purpose is to do some menial job until they're chosen at 25 to be part of this like selection process, and they are paired with someone. Now, some women are very excited because they're hoping to better their situation, because every now and then, it's very rare, but sometimes whoever they're paired with does decide to go ahead and keep them and not return them, basically, which is a horrible thing to say. But that's actually rare, but that's their hope. Of course, they have to like produce children. Otherwise, if they can't produce children, they can get kicked out. And they can get kicked out at any time in the process and deemed a major defect if they just make one of the higher ups angry. Well, our main character, she gets chosen to not just be with like one of the elites. She gets chosen for like the head top ruling power, the Ilum. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't know. So she gets chosen and she gets paired with one of them. And it's a huge ordeal. Like, absolutely, media's all over it. No one can believe it. Uh, and her family, she was kicked out when she was born for having a minor defect. Her family is actually up here. They are rich and they have power. She has brothers that she had never met before. And she vaguely remembers like her mom. But it is her journey into basically the sky because the higher ups live in the sky. So it's her journey into this realm, trying to figure out her place, how this situation is, how she's going to survive. And at the time that she gets paired with the main elite man, all of a sudden someone shows up into her life while she's working one day by herself. And she kind of has a crush on him. Problem is, he's a rebel. He's part of the rebel forces who want to overthrow the hierarchy as it is. So we have a love triangle, and he tries to enlist her to help him out. So that is the story. It's very, very interesting. Makes you think and question society in general. Uh, but I read it, I think, in a day. I couldn't stop reading it. Every second I had, I was just like, I have to know how this ends. Next year, we have a prequel to this, but I'm excited for the prequel, but I also can't wait for the next book. I think this is going to end up being a trilogy. So, those were my 5-star reads for 2025. Absolutely, uh, those books were really, really good for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.